Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Consumers Redefined Path to Wellness. I'm Maggie Jacqua. I'm the content director for Whole Foods Magazine, and I am honored to be your moderator for today's webinar. Thank you all for joining us. So as you know, today's consumers are taking a more proactive approach to health and wellness, and it's important that we're really tuned into their shifting needs. To help you do that, Balchem recently conducted an attitude and usage study to help us better understand the US consumer. This study captured insights in behaviors, preferences, and also white spaces, revealing key insights into cognition, immunity, and longevity. And over the course of these presentations, you'll get answers to pressing questions, such as, are consumers today satisfied with the commercial supplements available to them? And what foods and beverages do they want to receive their fortification in? Also, what nutritional claims resonate most with consumers? So we're going to dive into all of that and more today. We are joined by Renee Ball. She's Balchem's Marketing Director, Food and Beverage, and also Tom Druk. He's the Marketing Director of VitaCholine. And they're going to answer all of those questions, and as I said, much more. And at the end of the presentation, they'll both be there to answer any additional questions that you have. So during these talks, you can type your questions right into the Q&A box, and we'll get to them at the end of the talk. If you have any technical issues, go ahead and post that into our chat, and our team will be happy to help assist you there. And, we're going to cover a lot of ground today. A lot of stats are going to be thrown your way, really great insights. You don't have to furiously write everything down. This will be available on demand after the presentation, so you can view it again and also let your colleagues who weren't able to attend this live know so that they can register for access as well. So now let's dive in. Renee, I will turn the stage over to you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Maggie. I appreciate it. And I hope it's okay with everybody. I'm just going to go off video while I'm presenting, and then I'll come back on at the end when we do some Q&A. But here's the topics that we're going to cover today. First, we're going to do a very quick word on the study methodology before we begin. Then we'll dive right into what is the disrupted consumer. We'll take a closer look at three wellness areas that Maggie mentioned: cognition, immunity, and longevity. And then we have time for Q&A at the end. What we aim to offer today is just another added view to your own consumer research. And the objective is that together we'll form an understanding of some unmet needs or poorly met needs by consumers. And then we can translate those into new opportunities for each of you and your unique product or brand or innovation platform. So in this discussion, we're featuring findings from our own proprietary attitude and usage study. We also make use of data from relevant external expert sources at times also. But first, for those not familiar with the term ANU, it's simply a survey-based market research tool. It's designed to get a deeper understanding of how a target market interacts with a product or a service. It tries to look at what do they think, how do they behave, what are they buying, and why? And when you use this type of research tool, you strive to uncover what needs they have that are realized or unrealized. And these types of insights then are translated into new opportunities. We'll take a closer look at the details of the study before we begin. So I mentioned we looked specifically at consumer need states for longevity, immunity, and cognition. And objectives were to gain an understanding of what the consumer's desired wellness benefits are and how satisfied they are. But then we also measured analytically their preferences and claims and positioning, what's most important to them, and translate that into what really will drive purchase. And Tom will get into that later in the study. The sample size was 600 Americans online, including users of dietary supplements today and non-users, but those willing. Ages were 18 to 65, about half and half, female and male, done in November of 2021. And the participants had to be the main driver of the purchasing decision in the household. Now onto the fun stuff, the consumer. Not just any consumer, but what we're calling the disrupted consumer. And now I'm going to show you what we mean. Trends are always in flux, but post-pandemic, there are many behaviors that created trends that have definite staying power. Certain changes in consumer attitudes and actions are going to impact our industry, the food, beverage, dietary supplement industry, for quite some time. The interesting thing is that people across all demographics and psychographics were impacted around the world. They were disrupted. Each of you, I'm sure. So actually, my personal well wishes to each of you as we move forward and try to make sense of where we landed after what you've all surely endured personally and professionally. So as we move into a thankfully much less chaotic period, people have reevaluated life, including how they think about wellness for themselves and the people that they love. Consumers have reprioritized meaningful and purposeful living, which includes the whole person, the body, the mind, and the heart, so to speak. So emotional health, cognitive health, and physical health all play a key role in living one's best life. The disrupted consumer, if anything, is more deliberate now in choices that are being made and recognizing the impact of mental and emotional health as part of physical health. This includes that holistic well-being, benefits to the planet and to society at large, as well as happiness and social connections. So people every day are looking for everyday solutions to support these wellness areas. If we look at generational health concerns across Gen X and boomers, they have these top issues in common. So overall health, stress, energy, like energy to power through the day, mood, weight, and heart health. Zs and millennials are also concerned with sleep, energy, mood, stress, and weight. Drawing your attention to the top right, during the pandemic, 44% of consumers globally said they took specific action to improve their emotional and mental well-being, and likely will continue those habits. Data indicates some of these habits are lasting, as I mentioned earlier. So 75% of adults said the following three things. The pandemic will have long-term impact on their behavior. They will increase the money and time spent on health and wellness, and that they have changed their shopping behavior. As I mentioned, the consumer desire for sort of everyday solutions for everyday wellness, our disrupted consumer has noted these activities on the right-hand side as key to supporting longevity and health. Exercise, eating and drinking foods with simple ingredients, eating and drinking foods with added nutrition, and then what sounds delightful right about now, massage and meditation were in the top. They're also seeking nutritional solutions through food and beverage type of experiences. Data shows that over a third of consumers prefer to get supplementation through non-pill-like formats and instead through more food and beverage-like experiences and products. When we asked our respondents what health benefits are most desired from potentially benefited food and drink, this is the consumer voice here. So most top of mind were immunity, cognition, heart health, digestive health, bone, memory, mobility, protein and fiber still really high ranking, as well as healthy aging. In our study, 86% of respondents had used a dietary supplement in the past 6 months, with longevity and immune support being the most widely used reasons. 30% have consumed products specifically targeting cognitive support. And if you drill down a bit into cognition there, the specific areas are brain health, mood, stress, and focus and alertness as part of overall cognition. So turning to food a little bit, we see that to get more, many consumers are expecting to pay more. 48% of those surveyed said they expect to pay more for benefited food and beverages. 46% said they expect to pay the same. So how much more? On average, about a 10% premium is about what consumers expect to pay for more benefited food and drink, or those with added nutrition. So how are we doing on our quest to be well? We want to do the right thing. We try to do the right thing for our health, but how are we really doing as Americans? Not as well as we could or should. According to the CDC, 6 in 10 US adults have a chronic disease, 4 in 10 have 2 or more. So Americans fall short of dietary guidelines in multiple ways, but an example here is 1 of 5 don't get enough zinc, and nearly half have inadequate levels of magnesium in their diets. So good nutrition is essential for staying active across a lifetime, but unfortunately, the reality is many people, many of us, me, struggle. This leaves us all gathered here today with a really important and essential purpose, and I hope we feel the weight of this responsibility and are excited about it. I surely am. But how do we create dietary supplements, food, beverages that give consumers these solutions for their everyday drive toward wellness? Data shows that priorities, as we mentioned, are cognition, immune, and longevity. But longevity is not just living longer or healthy aging. It's staying active and staying well as we live longer. So let's hear now from my colleague, Tom Druk, and together we'll look deeper into the study details to understand what the consumer is telling us about their wants and needs, otherwise known as opportunities for each of you here today. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Renee, and thank you for that introduction.
My pleasure.
I appreciate the good context and backdrop for our dive into a little bit more of the details, and you're going to see some of the things and behaviors and some of the priorities that consumers are saying as it relates to coming out of the pandemic and their wants and needs. So with that, we'll dive right in. Cognition. So it kind of has been perceived over the past as very much, that's how my brain's working, you know? And I think that's definitely true. But what's changed by COVID and the resulting disruptions and how the disrupted consumer is looking for new solutions is they want more control. They want to be in the driver's seat. They're feeling lost, stressed, and anxious. And there are issues with sleep. So, you know, they're looking for not only, you know, those cognitive and performance-based aspects, but also mood and stress relief. If we look at, Renee mentioned about 30% of people who are using any type of cognitive support among VMS category users. And typically most people are using that, you know, 2 to 3 times a week or more, and are using it either the same amount or more than in the past. So it's definitely growing, and this need for mood and brain health has improved. So we do know also from our syndicated research that mental health has become an increasingly important thing for consumers. There was a time when consumers would have defined everyday health and wellness as being in good physical condition, being in shape, feeling fit. But really, it's very much about whole body health, you know, and looking for solutions that address not just the mind, but also the body. And as I said, incorporating those parts of mental well-being that may expand now into sleep, mood, performance, and mental energy. And it's not just something that, you know, is at any one life stage, but rather across the entire lifespan. Consumers get that brain nutrition is important. As far as where new product launches are happening and where it's being driven, you see on the right-hand side of the screen, this is a snapshot of the food and drink product launches that have either a cognitive, mental, or brain health claim over this period of 2016 to 2021. And this data really tells us in Asia Pacific, it's the huge leading region, but it's still strong in Europe, and we see through the rest of the globe, you know, making up a robust percentage of the total launches out there. And the top categories, not surprisingly, in baby food, when the brain is growing, that's when nutrition is among the most important. But certainly dairy, beverages, and different kinds of snacks and simple eating occasions are really showing up as some of the leading categories. So getting into this idea of what are the unmet needs in the marketplace, here we see a need gap map, and you're going to see along the bottom or the x-axis really the stated importance. So how important this is to the consumer, with a less important on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side being more important. On the y-axis, we see the satisfaction level with current products. So starting at lower and obviously moving up to higher. So where we see great opportunities is in that purple region where there's low satisfaction, but the importance of the product is really high. And some of the things we see starting to get into that area are mood, stress, and anxiety. So not a surprise coming out of the pandemic that people feel disrupted. They feel like, as I said, they're losing control and they want to regain that control. And we also see that high quality ingredients are all, they're definitely considered important, but they're pretty average in terms of consumer satisfaction. So that's another opportunity to really move things up along the continuum. If we look at claims, I think not surprisingly, anything related to improving brain function or memory and focus are the things that stand out really well here. If you think of an index as being 100 for an average claim, the ones we saw perform best are in the green. That's significantly above the average score. And this idea of preserving brain function throughout life, or fueling brain systems that contribute to efficient memory and recall. These are all things that are resonating with the consumer, as well as the idea of mind and body combination. So I think we're seeing some of that language we saw earlier and some of the behaviors come true as consumers make these choices about what kind of products and claims they're looking for. So our key takeaways from the cognition segment. The disrupted consumer is definitely looking for brain health support, but also solutions that are really addressing stress and sleep, and they're looking for ways to improve their own focus and alertness. Innovation hasn't been all there, even despite consumer demand. So it's a great opportunity going forward. Holistic wellness solutions are also really important, not just for the body, but also for the mind. And expanding more beyond traditional brain health into well-being, mental well-being, such as sleep, mood, and then you see cognitive performance and mental energy. There's also a big need for new and improved product offerings, and ingredients that have low awareness can really help break through on solutions. And it's really important to remember who is the consumer and what are they trying to address as the needs at their particular life stage. Finally, some potential ways to position new products. I think we're going to look here at across different periods of the lifespan. On the younger end, you see behaviors that are sometimes around gaming and things that are people looking to do in enjoyment. Products that give consumers the control to be able to improve their performance, to reduce their stress and feel reassured. Those are the kind of products that could be successful here. We see these as having a good opportunity in new formats like shots, chewable products, beverages. And again, the types of claims you just saw, fueling those brain processes to support mental well-being and healthy mind and strong body, relaxing the body. As we get into the middle age and the Gen X, here we're talking a little bit about moving more now into, as I'm starting to think more about my lifestyles and my behaviors as I get older, it's getting into that bridging retirement. And so there's this idea of things I do now matter for how I age later. The types of claims we could see here, contributing to efficient memory and recall and helping the brain efficiently process information. Gummies, shots, and soft gels are all potential formats here. And as we move into the senior area, really, this is more now about mental acuity and confidence and enjoying life to its fullest as you age. And so promoting healthy brain function to keep me performing at my best and doing, doing the things I want to do. Those are the biggest types of claims. And the formats we see here, a little bit more traditional: tablets, fortified shakes, and beverages. So these are all some products. Obviously, a lot of ingredients can play here. Omega-3s are very important, as well as choline, magnesium, iron, and certainly a lot of ingredients that are going to fit well with a cognitive positioning. With that, I think we're going to move on to immunity. And so we'll dive in on the next topic. So the context for immunity is immune health was probably seen just a little bit more as, this is something I worry about in the fall. It's starting to get a little cooler outside, almost like I got to get my flu shot, and now I have to be worried about boosting my immunity. The disrupted consumer now sees immune health as part of a much more holistic approach to life. So they're really looking at immunity as something that's going to endure beyond just a seasonal period. They're starting to make much more deliberate choices, and immunity really plays a key role in that. They know that diet, exercise, and supplements are all critical, and consumers are committed. If you look at over the past 6 months, would you say you've used products more or the same amount? 100% are either using the same amount or more. So we know 43% are using any type of immune support product, and again, quite frequent use, 2 to 3 times a week or more. Immune health is really important, but it's also, something that people realize it's a source of vulnerability. I think COVID shook people up, and they understood the disruption to their day-to-day life that came as a result of this. And so they want to do things that are going to keep them healthy throughout. And they're really looking at their life through a different immune health lens. 65% are more conscious now, and 68% are saying it's an area they want to improve. Consumers are also looking for partners to help them stay healthy. If you think about the traditional consumer, which is in the blue bar, versus the teal bar with reimagined consumers, we see a much bigger prioritization on interest in companies that prioritize the health of their consumers and their employees across the board. And thinking companies are just as responsible as governments for the health of societies. This is a really big increase in this study that we saw. As far as the needs gap for immunity, consumers are largely satisfied in a lot of the attributes for immune support, but definitely there are a few opportunities. We start to see all natural, no preservatives in value. They're important, but they're less likely to score high. And then you see edging in there some digestive health benefits, including, supporting a healthy microbiome and fiber. These are all things that are stated, relatively high in terms of importance, but not as high in terms of satisfaction. So these are some of the areas that, definitely could contribute to opportunities. As far as claims that are motivating to consumers, strength and efficacy claims are really among the most compelling. And I think fortified immunity, keeping immune health and how the immune system works really are all doing pretty well. You see clinically proven, helping to maintain a strong immune system, promoting a strong immune defense, things that really get to that core of the body as a fortress. Those are all the ones, but you see there are a lot of claims here that are performing and that's significantly high above average, including just general helping the body defend the immune system. So our key takeaways from the immunity is that consumers, as a result of the pandemic, they get that they're vulnerable and they know that's going to be something they have to work on. So immune support will continue to be a big motivator. It's definitely linked to overall well-being, and older consumers are especially interested, possibly feeling that vulnerability a little bit more. Zinc is certainly big here. Vitamin C and multivitamins are the most likely to be used. And on the second tier level, vitamin D3, vitamin B, and zinc, but only zinc over-indexes on immune support against these key categories tested. So that's really an important aspect for zinc in this space. And that while the direct benefit of immune support is really going to influence the purchase of immune products, it's interesting that digestive health is really resonating at the secondary level. So there might be white space in people who are looking at digestive health benefits that also amp up with immune support. Potential ways to position and launch new products. Here we have an idea on the left of a total wellness immunity shot with essential nutrients to start your day so that you can be ready to take on what the day has to bring. Packed with nutrients to support that healthy immune system. Could be a shot, but it could also be a chewable beverage or a powder. Then keying on that idea of linking digestive health and immunity, we've got this gut boost mix, which is, really a healthy immune system linked to a healthy microbiome. So boosting your immunity through essential minerals and vitamins designed for maximum immune health. Zinc is a really good area here. But you can also include things like fiber, and other ingredients that are going to support the healthy microbiome. And there's a lot of different formats you can see where this would make sense. And then finally, getting into a kid's concept, obviously zinc is very, very important, and for immune health, but it's also an area where teen girls are lacking that in their diet. So delivering a substantive and correct amount of bioavailable zinc in every dose. This is something that could be done in a gummy or a chewable format, which is something that kids are definitely more inclined to enjoy. So the last topic I'm going to talk about before we move into our questions is longevity. And this is, again, not just about living longer. It's about staying active longer. And as it moves from kind of that traditional healthy aging, okay, I'm a little bit older now, I have to think about things. No, people are beginning to think, what are things even early in my life stage? What are things that I should be doing to really promote a healthier tomorrow? So that's what we're going to take a closer look at here. So for longevity, again, it's evolving in terms of how consumers look at this. And it spans across several different generations. It used to be, as I said, that this was something you thought about when you got a little bit older. People are living longer. They're aware of that. You have a lot of people in what's, often referred to as the sandwich generation, where they're taking care of their kids at the same time as they may be taking care of aging parents. So understanding the need for health as you get older is really starting to, resonate with folks. And that builds a greater awareness of the importance of taking care of yourself and really maintaining your quality of life so that you can do the things you want to do as you live longer. And millennials are already showing that they're going to, take on and maintain those healthy lifestyles that they first started during the pandemic. Any type of longevity, which could be the things you see here from vitality and energy to bone, skin, hair, skin, and nails, and beauty and joint support. Any of these, about 50% of consumers using. Again, lots of frequency, typically, 4 to 6 times per week or more is the norm here. And then certainly also an area where people are using either the same amount or frequently. So a good state for this, and certainly an area, but I think we're going to see continued growth here as people look to improve their health as a result of the pandemic. And this broader demographic really, and looking at the setting, we can look at the differences between the 3 major categories: millennials, middle-aged Gen Xers, and then the seniors and the upcoming seniors, which are the baby boomers. From the perspective of a millennial, they're really a lot more devoted and they're focused on health than were consumers 10 years ago. So they're looking for things they can do, and they're much more aware of how that has an impact on their future health. People in the Gen X, it really means a lot about vitality, living in the moment, having the energy and being fit and doing the things that you want to do right now and enjoying yourself. And then as we look at the seniors, it becomes a little bit more about sustaining and maintaining overall health and still maintaining and pursuing that active lifestyle. So doing the things I'm used to doing, even as I get a little bit older, and enjoying those things as much as I did when I was younger. So what's driving this trend? Well, I already said it, but here's the proof. Life expectancy really is increasing pretty significantly over time. By 2050, 1.5 billion people will be in the 65 or over category, compared to, just about half of that, 727 million in 2020. So in a short 30 years, that group's going to double. The upcoming seniors are much, much more active. Maintaining health is a big priority for anybody who's in the 55 plus category. 1/4 of 55 plusers have a gym membership that they use. That's up 38% over 10 years ago. 61% of boomers say they exercise or want to exercise more. So activity and being active is continually important. And people get that it takes self-care. Healthcare costs are rising. People understand that taking care of themselves is really going to be a way not just to enjoy their life, but also to take control of their own well-being and hopefully defray costs as they get older. As we look at the types of routines and things that people do, supplements and fortified foods and beverage definitely play an important role. If I look at, exercise being obviously the number one, but then eating, with simpler ingredients, but then eating foods with added vitamins and nutrition and drinking beverages. That's what's keying up here, 42% and 35% there would see that as a way to get their benefits for longevity. Vitamins and minerals netting out at about 23% in ways that people have added to their lifestyle, and you see exercise at 25%. So this really is a balance between the things I eat and the things I do. And people are open to having things put into the food that will provide them with the types of benefits they're looking for. Now, if we look at longevity and see the need gap map here, what we see is that improving digestive health, aiding in the management of weight, and then helping to reduce anxiety, boosting energy levels, and having a good source of protein. Those are all areas that fall in that key targeted area of, higher importance, but lower satisfaction. So these really play into some pretty key white space opportunities for anybody who's looking at products that they want to launch into the longevity segment. As we look at claims to support longevity, I think it's a broad range and a mix that people see here. But I think we see some consistency also with things we heard earlier in the cognitive segment. The mind and body, keeping, and I think this ties into what we just heard, that people want to exercise, they want to do things, they want to stay fit. So having a strong mind or a healthy mind and a strong body is going to let them do the types of things. So that's really resonating very well. Obviously, maintaining cognitive function, so keeping my brain sharp as I get older. And then maintaining muscle strength and mobility. These are also things that resonate. And then, of course, bone health. So again, it's playing across a broad range of cognitive, muscle, and bone health, where really consumers are seeing the greatest. And, you see that stronger mind for a healthier body. I think it's really, important to note that that message resonates across all lifespans. So our key takeaways for longevity, again, it's evolving, not just about things that I need to do now and worry about that I'm older, but things that I can do in the moment now to really improve my health as I look to the older years. Certainly healthy aging, mind and body, things around mobility related to muscle and bone health, and keeping that, brain functioning are all playing a distinct role in this key area of longevity. So people understand it's a multiple body aspect and they need to work on many different things. The benefits we saw where people are falling short, or whether the products are falling short on consumer satisfaction. Digestive health we saw again, weight management, things related to anxiety and energy, and then having a good source of protein. So multivitamins, the omegas, calcium, and then the B, D, and C vitamins are typically most used or associated, but across a lot of different areas. And I think ways to support targeted benefits could be, as we look at the mobility and the anxiety function, magnesium plays a key role, not just in bone health, but in muscle and sleep regulation and calm. Zinc is another area where we can see growth with protein, particularly with protein to help satiety. And then choline and iron obviously play roles in cognition and overall body health, and really are ways to help with the brain function. So how do we take this into new products? Well, the idea of mobility and keying into that bone and muscle health support, really about supporting an active lifestyle. And this is where, to help with bone health, calcium, and then to help with both, muscle and relaxation benefits, magnesium plays a role here. Keying in on maintaining muscle strength and mobility, and then supporting bone health and muscle function. And again, gummies could play a role here, something that people can take as a nice indulgence, or a soft gel. As we talk about the sort of the lower satisfaction with current products related to weight management, here we've addressed it through a shake. And this is designed in a convenient format just for you. Here we've got protein and zinc to help support a healthy weight. And then having the correct and optimal level of protein for satiety. And here, this could be a shake, but it could also be a bar. So there's multiple ways to deliver benefits here that will address the weight management concerns. For brain health boost, thinking about what you do now to set the foundation for the future, and really taking those actions that are gonna keep you healthy and prevent you from having issues in the future. Choline and iron play a huge role in brain health. Magnesium could also, certainly help there with mood. And for a healthy mind and strong body, we know resonated really, really well. And maintaining cognition as you age is another type of claim that's going to translate that to people, that these are important nutrients to really keep your brain at its best. A little bit more traditional formats as you get a little bit older, perhaps, and tablet and gummy are certainly things you could see here. So a lot of different opportunities to talk to this consumer and really to address the white space opportunities, as I said, in mobility, weight, and cognition. So we really want to sort of close up the part of the discussion with, this is just the tip of the iceberg you've seen here. We've obviously got a good look at some key benefit areas for consumers. We gave you kind of a little bit of a deeper dive, but there's a lot more information that's out there. We also have access to major research firms. You saw some of that through the research data that was presented today. And we look at both syndicated and, as you saw in the ANU, custom research. So we're really taking a lot of different sources to identify those key trends and the insights that are going to drive the development of the next wave of products. And then we're also able to help, as you look at developing solutions, what's going to resonate with the consumer. So we do have access to online consumer panels, and we regularly do validation of consumer concepts and looking at a whole variety of different areas. So when you think of Balchem, I want you to think in the food, beverage, and supplement, and including not just traditional vitamins and supplements, but things for kids, infant, products, prenatal products. All of these areas, we have a lot of experience, and we're doing a lot of research into this area. So we really encourage you to reach out to us. We'd love to help as you think about future product development and design, and just let us know how we can help you. So with that, I'm going to close it up and thank you all, and I will turn it over now for Q&A.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Tom. And Renee is going to join us as well for some questions. We have a lot rolling in, and we're going to get through as many as we can. So go ahead and type those into the Q&A box, and we'll start working through those now. The first thing we got is a kudos to you guys. Great presentation and topic area. Thank you for sharing your data. And this person came in a little late and asked about sleep and brain performance, which I know you touched on a bit, but she's asking, or he, is there an opportunity here for consumer and product development in the sleep brain performance area?
Yeah, absolutely. That's an opportunity area. And I think we see it, at least in data I've seen, it's most prevalent in the younger set, where it really challenged a lot of people during the pandemic, became much harder to sleep, all of the weight and concerns that they had on their shoulder. So as you think about, it's not just sleep, however. I think a lot of the solutions we see in the marketplace are addressed at falling asleep. That's why melatonin is so important. I think we'll see things like magnesium start to take off, which are addressing not only sort of brain and sleep benefits, because magnesium can help boost melatonin levels even. But I think we'll also see more into that relaxing the body so that you're in a state where you really feel relaxed and can sleep. So, and I think that's going to go across all areas of the lifespan, but I think the stronger area will be in the younger consumer.
Excellent. All right, and here's just a question for some clarity on how the data is presented here. In the immunity section, were those numbers out of 200? For example, you said 199 out of 200 users said clinically proven to help support immune health is what they want on the label. So is that out of 200? How's that data registered?
Yeah, so that's basically an index. So if you think of, if it's 100 versus 150, that's 1.5 times. 199 would be roughly 2 times. So it's just either a multiplier effect on top of that.
Okay, great. We're also asked, is there any data or insights on preferred supplement formats, and how might those have changed over time?
Ooh, I'd like to jump in on that one. Is that okay, Tom? We love that question at Balchem because we play in dietary supplements, food and beverage. And we know that consumers are looking for nutrition, but consumers are also looking for things that taste good and are convenient, are easy to take with them, and give an overall experience. So we don't have the data analyzed here, but top formats. But I love the question about how has it changed over time. It's spiked recently, but I wonder if you look back 5 years, what it would look like. But the key formats are like gels or jellies, bars and bites. So versions of bars, beverages of all types, confectionery, believe it or not, or candy type of formats. And I think those are the key ones. Liquid shots. Liquid shots are also trending pretty high. Tom, would you add anything else to that in terms of desired formats for nutrition?
No, I think you've keyed in on it. I think the formats that the benefit of being in a alternative format, particularly as you talk about bars and beverages, is you can deliver much more meaningful doses. So yeah. I think that also plays in. The more you can deliver in terms of a nutrient, the more you can talk about the benefits. And then that, of course, translates into more significant claims. I also think that what's important too is to remember that consumers really are trying to get benefits everywhere, and it's blurring between, the line is blurring between what's a supplement and what's a fortified food. So I think we're going to see that development continue, and I think it's probably been much more focused on supplements in the past and is now moving into fortified nutrition.
Excellent. I just want to say we've had questions about, will this be on demand after, and will the slides be available for viewing? Yes, they will. So anybody who wants to go and kind of look more closely, you will be able to do that, and we'll be sending out an email to let you know when that's available on demand. Another question here. Can you talk about dietary lifestyles that people are following? What is trending and how those dietary behaviors change by generation, and why?
Tom, you want that one?
So lifestyles and dietary preferences across lifestyles, is that was the question?
Yeah, across like generational, what's trending in terms of lifestyles, dietary lifestyles people are following, what's trending, and how is that changing with different generations?
Yeah, I think everyone's certainly more acutely aware of the importance of a good diet. I don't off the top of my head recall the specific differences in terms of dietary preferences through these areas, Renee, unless you do. But we can definitely look into that and give a more detailed answer.
Yeah, there's one area that's interesting is we of course always want to look at generational differences. I find it striking, the one slide that I had in my introduction, that the 4 generations we looked at, there were like 5 things in common, different priorities, but a lot in common in terms of stress, mood, sleep, weight. People might express them differently and want the solution differently, but we're all thinking about a lot of the same areas.
All right, we're also asked about phytonutrients and phytochemicals. What role will they be playing into these areas of growth?
Ooh, that's a very detailed question, and not something I think necessarily we've thought about. So I think we'll take that as a follow-up as well.
All right, excellent. And just nuances and some of the benefits. We're asked, what are the differences between products for longevity support and products for vitality and energy?
Yeah, so I think vitality and energy, you're going to see really pushing more into the active, things I'm doing right now that I want to excel at. So I think longevity is much more about, things I can do that are going to maintain my health as I get older, and things I can take as an action right now that's going to ensure a better future. So it's more about preservation necessarily than in the moment enhancement. I think not necessarily building strong bone mass or strong muscle mass, but preserving what I have, make sure I'm getting enough in order to maintain that structure. So I think that's kind of the nuanced difference between them. I think people are probably taking more of things to get that boost, as opposed to really focusing in on making sure I'm getting enough to stay where I need to be.
All right, and somebody wants to dive a little more deeply into the beverage format. So in terms of instant beverages, which you would get in water bottles, are people interested in shots or larger format?
I'm going to shoot that over to you, Renee.
Yeah, I'll take that one. I'll echo what Tom said a minute ago. That's a question that warrants an exact answer. So I don't have an exact answer in terms of having the data right now. But here's what I would anecdotally state. A shot is something that necessarily isn't going to give you the pleasure of having something to drink and long-term hydration, meaning like sitting on your desk as you're working. A shot is going to be something you'll take quickly, and typically you're doing it with a purpose, whether it's an alcoholic shot or non-alcoholic shot, definitely a purpose to the shot. Whereas a functional water, for example, is something that you might nurse a little bit and have it on your desk or take it with you when you're driving, and you'll have hydration and you'll have a benefit. A shot, unless it's specific to hydration, is probably more likely to deliver a very specific benefit. If I got the question right, if I understood the question right.
All right, excellent, thank you. I had a question. If anybody else has questions, keep them coming. But I had a question because I was interested in, consumers. You found that a lot of consumers are willing to pay a premium. And last year, there was a survey from CRN. They found that 63% of supplement users are willing to pay a higher price. And when it comes to branded ingredients, so people are increasingly recognizing that branded ingredients, quality ones with the research behind them, are something that's worth the money. So I'm wondering, any insights on how are consumers now valuing like what's worth a premium? How are they determining what's a quality supplement?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of factors that can go into that. As you mentioned, Maggie, the branded ingredients where you have the confidence of the manufacturer behind it. Certainly on the attributes like science, clinically proven, and then of course quality and safety. It's really reassuring, obviously, to have that as a consumer and know that you're getting what you're paying for. I also think that people understand and expect that if they're going to get a more significant benefit, there's going to be an expectation that it will cost more. Otherwise, we're all in this ultimately right to do business. So I don't think consumers are, they don't want an unfair trade-off. They're just willing to pay more as long as you'll give them more. And I think that there are particularly key areas where maybe the satisfaction level or the efficacy isn't perceived as high. And I think you've seen some growth in a lot of things. I'll reference Nuriva, for example, which is out there, really focusing on this message of, 6 key factors of brain health. I think that's resonating with consumers. It's a more premium product, but it's definitely something that's pushing out into the marketplace, and it's found its home because they're focusing in on all the multiple benefits you can get from taking the product. So that's, kind of my short answer, I guess, is, really the ingredients at the right levels and, definitely the quality and the science and the, safety that you expect. Those are all things that come into consideration.
Excellent, thank you. Another question came in. What kind of products are millennials consuming when it comes to the healthy aging category?
Yeah, again, I think, that's one where probably we'd need to have the data right in front of us. But I think, it's more in the area of benefits around, I think healthy skin, healthy nails, beauty from within, for example, is a good category. Things that they're able to do. Those are the types of products that they're consuming. So, hair, skin, and nails could fall in that area. Really kind of a more in the moment type of benefit, I think, for millennial consumers than what you might see with a traditional older consumer, where it's much more about, either maintaining bone health or preserving a body function.
And I think we also may see a lot of millennials with that drive toward protein-centric food and beverage, protein-centric snacking, protein fortification through powders or something else, because they know that protein helps with satiety, helps build muscle, helps keep them strong. And then when they have, when they're not hangry and when they have strength and the type of kind of muscle goals that they have, they can play more and they can work out more and they can be more active and have that energy level to power through the day. So I see some macronutrients definitely playing a part in that as well.
Excellent. And then we were asked, this came up in the chat, but just wondering where they can find resources for product development.
Where they can find resources for product development?
Yeah, to help with their product development. What resources you guys have where you can point them?
Yeah, Tom, do you want to take that one, or would you like me to?
Well, I think if you're talking about the vitamin and minerals side and sort of the more traditional dietary supplements, obviously, we've got a lot of information in-house about what are the things that are trending. I think, gummies, you're going to hear gummies a lot, just because that's something that, as Renee said, it's not surprising that people are looking for sweeter, confectionaries. It's an indulgent nutrition, way to get your nutrition. So you're feeling good about yourself because you're taking something that you enjoy, but it's also doing something good for you. So I think, those are some of the trends we see as far as how you apply and develop and put nutrients into these products. That's one of the key areas we focus on. We definitely look at, if we have this nutrient, how do we deliver it in the various formats, whether it's traditional supplements, tablet, or increasingly we've branched out and done some research and done some product applications in gummies. For example, we have a high-load choline gummy that we recently developed because we knew that was something that was going to be important in the marketplace, particularly as there's more emerging research around choline and prenatal. That's an example, where at that particular time, it's really hard to keep things down. So you don't want to be taking a horse pill. So being able to deliver a meaningful level of a nutrient that's critical during pregnancy in a gummy format opens up options for consumers. So I think, certainly looking to the research and letting that guide you in terms of what types of formats, but in terms of how to work with nutrients, that's a question, you can definitely come to us with, and we'll work with you.
And I'll add on to Tom's excellent answer. In terms of support with product development, you can count on us to do things, not just like Tom said, understanding the ingredient, technically how it works, what the nutrition is behind it, the consumer science behind it. And because we have a very broad technology capability platform, we also take ingredients that are sort of difficult to use or difficult to get in different formats, and they help enable different types of food and beverages to be created. So from a micronutrient standpoint, for sure, from a macronutrient standpoint, so protein powders, healthy fat powders for keto diets, for example, but being able to extrude proteins, plant proteins and otherwise, so then you can take those ingredients and put them in a bar where it'll taste good, it'll meet shelf life, it'll meet your nutritional requirements. You can turn it into a beverage. So we help enable different types of food and beverage formats. And with the FDA's new proposed rule on noting foods as healthy, there might be a way to enhance, do some simple modifications to products that exist to not just reduce some of the things you don't want in there, sodium, bad fats, but increase things that you do want, fiber, protein, nutrients.
Excellent, thank you. We've gotten a few more questions about the on-demand. Yes, we will definitely share this with you on demand. You'll have access to the presentation and the slides. We'll send out an email once we have it ready to go on demand. You'll be able to access that by next week. So we will definitely get that to you. You'll be able to review everything again. And another question here, we're asked if Balchem will be at SupplySide West, and yes, they will. They are at booth 5236. And we're asked, what will you be featuring at SupplySide?
Yeah, I think, we're going to have a lot of different demos available and products that people can look at and try out. We do have a Boost You concept, for example, that looks at cognition, immunity, and longevity. So something that you can actually put as a booster into your favorite beverage to be able to get those benefits that you want delivered in a simple format that you can enjoy on the go. I think those are some of the key things. We also talked about, we will have the choline gummy there as well. So something that you can get an idea of. Yes, it's possible to put meaningful doses of certain nutrients into this gummy format. So I think those are some of the things we'll share on. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot more. Renee, I don't know if you have to add on the.
I would actually also add that for my friends on the webinar here that are in the Chicago area, will be at the Chicago IFT Suppliers Night as well. So come see us there too.
Excellent, thank you. Well, another comment here, great job, excellent information. We are just about out of time. If there's any questions that we didn't get to, I know that the Balchem team will be very happy to follow up with you. I know there were some follow-ups on a few areas where we need a deeper dive. That said, also, Balchem will be at SupplySide West. Again, that is 5236 is the booth number. And you're all invited to stop by and learn more about how you can incorporate some of the learnings from this presentation into your next product launches. So definitely stop by and see the Balchem team. And again, Tom and Renee, thank you so much information, lots of great insights, and just incredibly valuable. So thank you so much. Thank you everybody for joining us. And it's been great being here with you.
Thanks, Maggie.
Thank you.